I've been on there since I got my start in 2002 as an MC slash producer that came down and just fell in love with the show and got my start spinning records and got my fair share of complaints because we try to keep it cuss free, and as like a young 17, 18-year-old DJ, I was like, yeah, I'll keep it cuss free, and then fuck this and this.
I
and
can
that
relate
came out.
firsthand.
Yeah.
I can relate firsthand. But I want to ask you about hip hop out of Denver and Boulder and the areas in between. What do you think of it? Like, how much has it developed over the last decade?
Oh, it's crazy. Like, I think in the early 2000s, everybody was trying to figure out who would be the definitive sound of Denver, Colorado, and Colorado in general. You have Denver's history goes back to early 80s. There's a cat out of Philadelphia that actually brought hip hop out of here. His name was Disco Rat and the Rat-a-Tat-Tats. So this is like early 80s. Denver's hip hop lineage came from Philadelphia actually, as it was spreading westward. You have cats like Mr. Magic that were doing stuff in the 1980s, early mid 1980s, Legion of Doom, Slick Rick. And throughout the 90s, it was kind of like people didn't know if we're supposed to be West Coast out here, we're supposed to be East Coast, what's the sound?
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a Denver sound? Or was there ever a Denver?
I think so. Like Wheelchair Sports Camp is a good example.
But do they sound like someone else?
No. I think that Denver's sound, honestly, and this is not my sound as an artist, but Denver's sound to me is a band. It has live instrumentation in it, and that's Denver's hip hop sound to me.
Yeah.
But throughout the 90s, it was nobody really knew which way it was going, and I think in the 2000s, I just want to add that like our #1 hit was Tag Team Whoop, There It Is. So that's like, you know,
that's from here.
Yeah, that was a golden era hit. They relocated to Orlando for packaging purposes.
Yeah.
But everybody wanted to know what the sound was going to be like, and I think that you start seeing these artists like Flowbot start gaining momentum, getting major label deals, getting platinum. And I think that's kind of the sounds. Denver's always had this really weird thing where it wants to be street, but I don't think it's really fully embraced that we're really close to like beautiful nature, you know?
Right.
So my group, Soul Pros, we try to embrace that and try to be on that positive.
So tell me
level.
about your group then.
My group is called Soul Pros. I'm the DJ and producer. I have an MC named Mike Word, who also plays many roles. As educator and sustainable living, you know, we handle all that. The other MC is Pablo Key from Debajo de Agua. He's a PhD graduate to be in environmental science. So we wear all kinds of different hats. We teach in the classroom and do stuff like that. And
so I keep hearing everyone I meet here seems to be teaching, sort of giving back.
Yeah,
does that seem to be a distinct trend here in Denver, as it seems to me?
I don't know, because I mean, I haven't really talked to people that are doing it outside of like Scratch Academy in New York and places like that. I could only speak on my own experience, which has been crazy being a high school dropout, going back into schools and getting a fat paycheck for teaching and being an example to kids. It's a beautiful thing, and half of my friends are doing the same thing, man. So it has to be something. It has to be something in the Mile High, I think. You know.
What about the number of DJs here? It seems to be a lot of hip hop DJs. Would you agree?
There's an incredible amount of DJs out here, and they're all good. So it's kind of hard getting a residency. I'm kind of struggling with that. I'm a professional DJ, and I have 1 to 1.5 residencies in Denver. You know.
And is it the same old? That if you want to get a good paying gig, they want you to play the pop hits?
I think that's a misconception. I think that like a good DJ, I mean, you could shake hands and say you're gonna come into a club and play the pop hits, but if you're a good DJ, you're gonna enjoy yourself and make people enjoy what you're doing. And I couldn't see how anybody would enjoy themselves playing straight shit, you know.
So is there a lot of clubs here for hip hop?
There are some clubs. I think that what we're lacking right now is a good vinyl scene. So I think like places like San Francisco and Bay Area, Oakland, and stuff like that. Obviously New York is just killing it right now on the vinyl tip. I think Denver has a lot of dope DJs that could do a lot of good stuff on 2 turntables, but as far as like good DJs with huge collections, I think that's something it's a weak point that we should work on.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, shout out, yeah.